getting kind of situated. They're like, that's what we're here for. We're like, I don't need to de-escalate anything.
I thought this was party class.
So, to bring some context to this, let me share my background and how this came all about. Okay, so de-escalation. This is, I had to pick some topics, just a handful of topics that we can, I guess, start with. And this came from an 8-hour block that I teach to corporate sector and police departments, which comes from a 40-hour block of crisis negotiation school that we do. We do maybe once a year for sure, once every 2 years, for dealing with really high-end hostage negotiations and so forth. To give you a little bit more context on that, we all know of the very, very famous FBI hostage negotiators in schools and so forth. They come to us for training and for experience. So the hostage rescue, FBI hostage rescues that we all know about on TV and everything, they don't get the real world reps or applications. They maybe get a couple a year that are really high profile. To give you context on that, when and with during my tenure on our team, and those of you guys don't know, I worked last 12 years of my career did LAPD SWAT. Part of the component of that was the CAT, which is the Crisis Negotiations Team. We handle about 150 call-outs a year. So put that into context, that's a lot of call-outs. And inside of that, I'd say about 5 or 6 are like the traditional hostage rescues that you think about, right? They have somebody captive hostage, they either committed a crime or they're running away from someone and they said, I'm gonna kill him or if you don't let me go and all this stuff, and we sit there and negotiate, talk. So that's about 4 or 5. Times that by 12 years. So I've done a few here and there. The most recent one was right before I retired. If you guys remember, there was a hostage rescue incident at the Trader Joe's in Silver Lake. So there was a suspect that took his girlfriend down to the south end to visit his grandmother. And during that visit, the grandmother didn't approve of his interaction with her or something. And what do all good grandsons do? Take a gun out and shoot the grandmother 7 times in the chest. And then took her car and then took off. The cops get there. By the way, she made a full recovery. She survived. Hard, sounds like 50 Cent. So he takes her car, girlfriend, they flee. Cops get there and pull out a crime broadcast and LoJack on the vehicle. Several hours later, a Hollywood Division police officers see the car. Now they initiate a stop, goes into a vehicle pursuit, driving, running gun, gun battle. Bang, bang, bang. It's all on YouTube. If you look up on YouTube, the LAPD hostage rescue, you'll see that. Shooting, and then on the corner of Hyperion and Rowena, which is in the Silver Lake area, the suspect crashes. Boom, TC's and the car rolls to a stop right in front of the Trader Joe's there. Gets out, as he's getting out, police, they're arriving, they get into another big gun battle in front, and then he dives inside the Trader Joe's, and then takes everyone hostage in there, and sits him down in front of the register. The sad, tragic thing about it is they got a 23-year-old manager at the time there. During that commotion, she steps out to hear what's going on. She takes a friendly fire around her shoulder. She reverses across, and then she goes back inside it. She slumped, and then she fell to it, and then succumbed to her death. That was the only tragedy. So I get there, I get the call like 11:30, 12 in the afternoon Saturday. Get the call, hostage rescue. We got multiple victims inside the target. Okay, I'm a negotiator at the time, so we do take turns on roles instead of the tactical side of the negotiator side. So usually you just wear plain clothes, you have your badge around your neck and your radio, and I'm racing up there and get all my information. And we ended up, there was so much chaos at the intersection. You had mayor there, councilmen, all the police chiefs are there, so we said we can't do the negotiating here, let's go down range. And where the police car was parked right outside the front door, and they evacuated, they're all gone. So myself, my partner, and a psychologist, we sat inside the police car, and then we are talking on speakerphone with them. And it went about 2-3 hours talking with them, and we were able to come to a successful is on. So that being said, just to give you kind of context, today's talk is going to be, I cherry picked a couple things, from an 8-hour block, and then that is something that we boiled down from a 40-hour. So we have crisis negotiators from all over the country that come to this class when we do have it, once every couple of years. And I was fortunate enough to take all that curriculum when I retired and create this 8-hour block, which now I'm taking pieces of that. So partly to do that is to think about how we're going to address and talk about how it applies to us. Okay, and then I'm going to give you guys some context and some concepts to think about. And this is how most people deal with crisis or potential crisis or even unknown situation. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they're more reactive, right? I'll give you the most recent incident. If you guys remember a few months back, that homeless lady that came through here. Majority of the people that when that lady came in, what did they do? They avoided eye contact and went to the corner and observed as witnesses. What is this person doing, right? They're reactive. So you have to understand the mindset when suspects or individuals come into an environment. They have a goal. Their goal is to probe weaknesses and figure out what I can gather or manipulate or what I can take advantage of. There's no other reason why that person would come in here. Right? They're not coming here, unfortunately, to get saved, or unfortunately, maybe that aftermath we can turn that into where we build a rapport, but they have a goal. So we have to not be reactive and say, oh my gosh, what are they doing? And every step that they take, every action, we reacting to it. And when we react, we're reacting to it. So that concept, we have to change that paradigm or shift of thinking. So what is tactics? Let me ask the group, anybody, when I ask what is the term tactics, what do you think of when I say tactics?
Proactive.
Yes.
What's your move?
Yes, along the same line. People think tactics, it's all like, tactical guns and all that stuff. Tactics is basically a means to accomplish a goal. So once we understand that concept, that chain, right? We're here, we have a goal. Now, how do we achieve that goal? We have to have tactic, we have a plan. So most of us don't approach situations like that. For instance, and this is very, very common knowledge. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Police officers, when they go into a restaurant, where do they sit?
Facing the door.
Facing the door to the very far back of the restaurant, facing the door. Why? They want reactive time. They don't want to be confronted with something that they don't have enough mental or reaction time to deal with the situation. It's like if I were to play catch with Pastor Sam and a ball, is it easier for him to sit from 5 feet away, throw a ball at him like that, or 25 feet away and I throw? He can see the ball coming, he react to it. It's the same concept where when you're in a restaurant or a public place, you want to sit in a position where you can see the door and have enough buffer space and know where the exits are. And it's a paradigm shift. We have to understand, like, in this day and age, how we go about life. We can't go into any situation in public reactive. We have to be a little bit proactive. It's just a conditioning we have to teach ourselves. So when you go, now that you guys know that, next time you go into a restaurant, watch, scan, see who has their back to the door and how they're sitting there oblivious. And I always tell our boys, when you're in a restaurant with your date or friends, the guy shouldn't be with the back to the door and engaged and be oblivious to the world. The guy should be at least facing the door, so you're kind of more aware of the situation. And you should always know where the exit is. Very simple, very simple. 2 things you can do. You face the door and know where the exit is. Unfortunately, this day and age, that has to be kind of ingrained now. It has to be built in and practiced in our day and age. So that is the paradigm shift. It's not being overly paranoid, but it's like, that's what we do. When we walk into our car, we shouldn't be at the car door fumbling for our keys, right? We should be aware that as soon as we get to the car, it should be open, get in, lock, and then take a breather, and then figure out what you go. We shouldn't be fumbling down. So those are some of the things that we need to as a society now, start incorporating and changing our mindset. And it doesn't take away any energy or any extra brain power thought, but it has to just be a conditioning, a response that we have to do. Now that being said, as far as the de-escalation, we establish we have to have a goal. Whenever we're out in public, whenever we're doing something, we have to have a goal. And whenever we expect a situation, we can't predict everything that's going to happen when we're out. Like for instance, use that lady as an example, homeless. We can never say today's the day there's going to be a homeless person walking in, right? But when that person comes in, we can't be reactive. We have to have immediately a goal that we want. And what would be the first goal? Because that person has a goal coming into the sanctuary. What should be our goal?
Find out her goal.
Exactly. Find out her goal, and then what?
Safety.
Provide a safe exit for that individual. Right? Those are the two goals. And now we have goals. Now we know that we have the tools to get us to that goal or to get her into that position. Two things you have to always be mindful of, and this applies to if you have in your respective work, dealing with individuals, dealing with clients, whatever. There's always a power struggle. No matter how subtle, no matter how overt there's always a power struggle. So going again with that example of the homeless lady coming in, as soon as she came in, it was like, okay. And I stepped forward, I go, how are you doing, sweetheart? So I established control first, right? Instead of saying, waiting for her to figure out the room and see the most vulnerable point and then going there. And then we're like, hey, you can't go there. Oh, now we're reactive. You see how most people, they observe and then they see something that they go, oh, they crossed the line. Let me go and try to clean up. Before it gets there, you step forward again. How are you doing, sweetheart? What can I do for you? Now they're on their heels. Well, and then now as you are on the proactive side, I said, is there anything I can help you with? And I see her scanning around and grab donuts. Oh, I just want to go. You can have a couple. Let me get it for you, right? Because we don't want her to fumble everything, right? So, but what I'm doing there is I'm subconsciously telling her I'm in control. You don't get willy-nilly free reign of this whole place. I will let you know what you can and cannot do, and subconsciously it constricts them to, okay, I guess I can't bully my way out, because everyone has goals, and their goal is to let me see what I can do and get away with or take it, and by restricting her, allowing her what she can and cannot do, it's just telling her you don't have control in this room. You don't have control. So got some donuts, gave her some donuts, made some coffee, sat around. She realized she was very restrictive when she could and couldn't do. But we weren't very, overbearing. Said, what else can I do for you? What else? And then as I'm moving position my body, realized, yeah, I'm not really gonna get my free reign here. And then she left. So if we didn't do that, if we were reactive, then what would you think would happen? Oh, hey, and just makes her start fumbling up, seeing how far they can get. So just that's that paradigm, using that as an example, right? We gotta understand how can we adjust, and a lot of times we don't know, we don't see understand their expectations of their goals. But I'm telling you, everyone coming into this, they have a goal. If we don't have a better goal or a goal that we're competing against, and how do we establish our goal as priority? Well, that's the key in de-escalation. If you don't, you're always reactive. And that there's a term in tactics called OODA loop. OODA loop. OODA. OODA loop. It's a psychological warfare. OODA loop stands for observe, orient, decide, and act. Everyone goes through that. Everybody has a cycle. So who can get the OODA loop faster? And this came from a fighter pilot named Colonel John Boyd. He was a mediocre pilot at best, and he wanted to go to Top Gun. This was I think World War II, and average. He wanted to go, but he wasn't good enough. One day it clicked. he came up with that concept, OODA. Observe, orient. Orient means orient yourself to what the surrounding is. Decide what your next action is and act on it, right? OODA. After he figured that out, he never lost air-to-air combat engagement. And he went down in history as one of the best fighters. And that applies to everything that we talk about in tactics that we do. If I can keep that individual on their heels, constantly reactive, I'm gonna always win that engagement. But if I'm reactive, because they're doing the same thing psychologically, let me see what, if I can cut them off, I shut them down. And so that's kind of the concept as well. You gotta have a goal. The goal is, it's gonna be, and you can practice this at your respective, place of work and business and so forth. Someone comes in, hi, what can I do for you? And that's the initial probing or figuring out if they have what their intentions are. And then from there, you're going to see, if you're sensitive enough, you're going to see that OODA loop happening. They're going to try to do something to get you on your heels, and then you go back and forth, and as better, better you get at it, you understand, oh, okay, but therein lies the tools. How do I do it? All right, now I'm sitting at the table, we say, these are the situations that naturally, organically happen out there in public, between us, our subordinates, between us and our superiors or whatever, constantly happen. The dynamics go on every day, going on and so forth. So now, what are the tools that we do? Because we need to have a goal. Tactics are the means to accomplish that goal, whether it be a stranger coming to the door, or whether it be I'm at a restaurant and incident, crisis pops off. Okay, we can't be reactive then. That's why I said when we get at a restaurant, you sit back to the door or back to the room facing the door. So then it gives you time to establish that OODA loop, right? Observe, orient, decide, and act. If I don't have that time, it just gets overwhelming, right? Your brain. So you're setting yourself up for success by putting yourself in a position where your brain can process things, react, and then go. Observe something's going on, orient yourself, where am I, like decide what am I gonna do, and act on it. If you can get that done before the suspect establishes their OODA loop on you, the chance of success is tremendous in that aspect, right? So, what are some of the tools? Communication. Everything about communication. One thing that we pride ourselves in working with the LAPD SWAT is negotiations. Every critical incident, besides manhunts out there, you don't know, starts and ends with communication. Always establish ourselves. We're here. Hey, if I'm on the negotiation cycle rotation call that weekend or that evening, that week, every off-hour call out, I get there. My job is to establish rapport. And I'll get there, and Johnny's on the phone. He goes, hey, his suspect's on the phone. Hey, Johnny, how's it going? My name is Charles. I'm with the police department. I don't say exactly what I do. I'm saying with the police department, what's going on today? Tell me. So I've established the initial reach out. They're expecting, this is Officer Joe with the police department. You need to come out with the hands up. Right? That's what they're expecting. And they go, no. So they're ready for that. I'm not coming out. But they hear, hey, this is Charles with the police department. What's going on today? Talk to me. Okay, now they kind of de-escalated a little bit, they vented, and then I said, tell me what's going on. What happened today? I know what happened transpired, but I need to know what happened from you. You tell me what happened. And then they give me the chance to give them a chance to talk. Right? That's number one. You have to establish rapport. So the biggest thing is to establish rapport. How you go about doing it, and think about establishing rapport in your daily interactions with your superior, with your peers, with your subordinate. Establishing rapport is the #1 act. There's an FBI study, and forgive me, I'm going to be bouncing around here and there trying to bring all this together, because remember, this is from a 40-hour course. So there's an FBI study that said they did a test case, 2 groups of restaurant servers. One, they said, be normal, take your orders and so forth. And the other one, they said, use a technique called mirroring. And by mirroring, when you take that customer's order, you're gonna mirror, you're gonna say back exactly what are some of the things, that keywords that they say back. I want to get a cheeseburger. Okay, with some cheese, extra cheese, yes. And by doing that, they were able to, after the experiment, this is for several months, they realized that the servers that were using the mirroring technique, upped their tips by 70%, just by mirroring. And they said, why? Because it made the other person, this customer, feel like they were important. Very, very, very key. So those one of the most important skill sets of active listening that I've used several times when I'm talking. All you do is just mirror. You know, oh, how's your day? How's your day, Pastor Sam? Oh, it was good. Good. How? Oh, well, I did this walk. Oh, you walked pretty well. Where'd you walk? You know what I'm saying? So I'm engaging instantly right away. Yeah, when I walked around this unusual block, your usual route. Oh, and I'm just mirroring exactly what they're saying, and they go, oh, and they get drawn in, and we have this connection. Right? So mirroring is a very, very important tool. I'd say one of the top used tools that I use when I'm engaging with a suspect. The longest negotiation I've had was 8 hours. 8 hours on the phone with somebody on the cell phone, with a person who barricaded this one committed a heinous crime. Back and forth, back for 8 hours, and ultimately they came out. We were able to build that rapport, right? So mirroring, any questions on mirroring? It is what it is, very simple. Practicing that, sometimes it sounds...
Use it with your
exactly.
You can practice with each other. Tell me about your day. Oh, okay. That's a safe place to practice.
They're like, why are you repeating what I said?
That's a safe place. And it's not like repeat back like a robot.
Right.
How was your day? I had a good day. It was a good day. No, it's like, really? Oh, good day. How? Oh, and then, so you build that practice and build that ability to get very soft and subtle and engaging. So mirroring was one. Pauses are very effective. You know, sometimes we call it pregnant pauses, but pauses are very effective. Don't feel like you have to cram everything in that space with words and words and words and words. Sit there and go. Just wait. Go. Interesting. I see. And it baits them even more, brings them in even more in the discussion. You don't have to feel like there's that cadence, to follow the cadence when you're talking all the time. It's just wait, use the pause towards your advantage. You'd be surprised. Even with negotiating with deals and businesses, you sit there and wait. And what that infers or gives off is that you are thinking about and you know, letting it sit in and you're contemplating. So that also makes the individual feel like they're important. What they're saying to you is important because you sit there and wait, pause, right? So we've got mirroring, we've got pause. Paraphrasing is also very, very important. See? So let me get this straight. And then you repeat back to them what they say in a more concise or in your way. So let me get this straight. You're telling me that this. Yeah. Oh, you know, so those are some of the tools. And we can go through the laundry list, but I just want to give you guys some of the most important ones that we can practice and go on, right? So mirroring is going to be good to practice. Pauses are very good. Most people are afraid to pause. You're afraid of silence. Silence is very good. And sometimes I'll even go, okay, John, got it. I'm going to call you back, okay? And I hang up on the suspect that thinking, wait, and I hang up. And then we're like, let's let him sit for a while. So now that suspect is on the other side, barricaded, thinking he has control, but I just took that control away. I go, I'm going to call you back, okay? And I hang up. Now we're sitting there talking and strategizing, but then I go, you think he's ready for a call back? Yeah, he's ready to go back. Call him back. Hey, where'd you go? I go, oh, well, we just had to take care of something, but hi. And I right back call him, and subconsciously, I just told him that I'm in control. Right? You don't get to dictate when you hang up or not. I'll do that. There's no urgency. So that is a very, very powerful tool as well. Pausing, so mirroring, pausing, right? And we talked about paraphrasing. Paraphrasing helps me to get on track. Sometimes we end up not listening too much because we're thinking about what we're gonna say next, right? So you're like, oh, what did you say? So paraphrasing is more helps me to kind of keep everything on track and stay on that goal that I've established early on in this connection, right? The interaction, the goal that I said. Wait, let me get this straight. Sometimes I might have to shift because by paraphrasing, it gets me like, no, you're going the wrong path. So, oh, okay, and then I'll guide and control and steer that conversation to the direction that I need to do to accomplish what? A goal. Don't ever forget, lose out of your goal. The goal is, in this incident that we talked about with the homeless person, is to, two things, right? Prevent that person from infiltrating too deep and running amok. At the same time, the goal is to establish control. Make sure they know that this is a controlled setting, that you're not going to dictate your movement. I am going to dictate your movement, but in a subtle way. And that's as long as you keep the goals in front, the tactics will get you there, right? And then the tools that you want to use. So those are the basic, the three. Another underlying communication tactic with that is, we all heard of it, open-ended questions. The reason why open-ended questions are so powerful for police officers is if I'm asking somebody an open-ended question and they're taking time to think or respond, or they're looking somewhere else, it tells me that their motives are not true. They're either trying to escape or assault me. And they're thinking of a plan or waiting for an opening to escape or assault, because they're not in the moment with my conversation, because you're challenging them with open-ended questions, right? It's like chewing gum and walking patio. They can't do that. If they're thinking of either running away or assaulting you, their brain can't shift back and forth and answer your open-ended questions. So that's a very good tool, more subtle, but that's a very good tool to see where that individual mindset is at. That, okay, this person's not here. Then everything's all about assessing and moving and so forth. So those are the basic points that will get you down the road into accomplishing your goal. And we have to have a goal. If we don't have a goal, and you'll be surprised now that you go, wow, every time I had an interaction out in public, or every time something happened at work or something crisis, I was reactive. I wasn't proactive, right? I waited for something to happen there, and then dealt with it. Wait, we're always behind the Parker and see, is that more of what and how I've been practicing, or do I, as soon as I have a situation that I'm thrusted into, do I establish a goal? And do I have a plan of getting that situation out, or am I reactive? So those are two things. If you say, yeah, I'm probably most likely reactive. Most of us are reactive. We get there, we go, oh, and then on the fly, we try to answer what that situation, how the person is going, because most of the time, they're used to accomplish that goal. And it could be anything that we apply ourselves. It's just a way of training, and it's going to take a while to get those training wheels off. But it's going to be awkward. It's going to be kind of but that's where you can practice with your spouse. Mirroring, pausing, open-ended questions, paraphrasing, So you would say, take the trash out. Wait, so let me get this straight. I'm going to take the trash out now. However, and you just play around with that, because those words don't come together naturally. We are so ingrained and grooved into saying certain things this way, that way. The minute you take off track, why off track? Because I'm telling you to completely change your paradigm of shifting. We're not reactive now, we're proactive. So if we're proactive, what are some things that we have to say? How do we have to say it? And that's where the awkwardness or learning comes from. Okay. And then you start saying these keywords, let me get this straight, or pause this. And you can be, and play around with this fun. Hey, can you take the trash out? You go, You wait. I told you. Reflected. You go, trash, huh? Trash out? We take it out? And you have to have that awkward exercising. So when you're out there in a real situation, you already exercise the awkwardness out, if that makes sense. And part of the 40-hour crisis negotiation school we have is we'll thrust. If Pastor Sam's in the class, after we do this whole a day or two of the understanding, the talking, the phrasing and all that, and it'll say, "You're up." You get your scenario, and then we have a person standing on a roof, but they're tied in. They're saying, "I can't stand this anymore. I don't want. I want to end it." And you're up there going, you know. And we drag you, take you in the deep end, and say, and then you're gonna go, "Hey, my name's Sam. What can I call you? What's your name? What do you care?" And then that's how and then it's just that awkwardness you got to get into. And once towards the end, we're doing high-level negotiations. You know, individual robbed the bank and shot 2 tellers and a security guard. And now they're held up in a building. Now you're there on the phone. Hey, this is Sam. What's going on today? It's not as bad as what you're thinking. And then we get you into the thing. So we lead you all the way to a very not a simple. That person's life is, you know, probably. In their mind, it's come to an end. They have nothing to live for. They're on the ledge. But as far as simple, that's the introductory negotiation they'll throw you in there. You know, don't make a permanent decision for the temporary problem. Come on, and you start doing these things, and then you find your way to build that rapport. Yes.
So in that example of the bank, is your goal to get them to trust you? Is that like if you had to summarize your goal in that situation? Is it to trust?
You have to build a rapport first. You can't make any demands until you build a rapport, because your demands are high stakes, right? Can you come out? Let the hostages go. Come out. No. Who are you? Right. So you have to initially build that first rapport. Hey, my name is Charles. So that going back to the Trader Joe's incident, we were speaking on speakerphone with one of the hostages. Her name was Mary. And she was on the phone, speakerphone, because the suspect got shot a couple times on the arm and kind of bleeding. They're packing it. And he's like, he's talking. We're coordinating all the tactical team, snipers and all that, but they're talking. What's going on? Hey, do me a favor. We had 10 hostages in there. Can you at least look around and say, are there any hostages that need medical attention? Can you send them out? They're no good to you or anything. They're actually going to be, more detrimental. Look around. Is there anybody that's, is not going to do well with the continued stress? And we got 1 out. Okay, and we got 2 out. So you start to go into different ways to plead to their empathy, but the way you do that, you do that the report. I'm not here for them, for you. Just the ones that right now that you can. We don't want to add any more stress, any more problem, and you just build that rapport, and then we're able to get 1, 2, 3, 4, one by one out. So the way you do that is to report. We'll build that rapport. The reason every SWAT officer, when they go through the selection process, school SWAT, is 14 weeks. The last week, or the second to last week, they go through this week-long 40-hour. The reason why is prior to becoming a SWAT officer, they're learning how to talk very aggressively. If you're on the window corner of a containment and then suspect keeps on looking out the window, go, "I see you, let me see your hands." Instead of that, after the week-long hostage negotiation or the de-escalation, they go, "Hey Johnny, what's going on?" And now they're reaching out to build that rapport. And we've had several instances with a containment team. They're not negotiators, they're not working as negotiators, they're in containment with their TAC gear and everything. They end up talking the guy out. Because you sit in the corner, he's in the bedroom looking out, "What are you doing there?" "No, we're just here because we want to make sure everyone's safe." And then just build a rapport. Next thing you know, "Hey, Charles, I'm on the containment that night. Hey, Charles to C&T and containment. I got a report. I got talking. He says he's coming out." Okay, now and he comes out. So everyone has the opportunity to build a rapport. So it comes down to the ability to connect, build a rapport. It doesn't have to be the funny little tangent on that Trader Joe's incident. The last 4 hostages we're down to. On speakerphone, we hear the suspect say, "The rest of you guys just leave." We're like, "Yes, we got it. Now if all hostages are gone, now we're going to either just deal with the suspect. We can have all the time in the world." The hostages said, "We're not leaving. We're not leaving until we can guarantee the safety." We just hear what we just hear. The 4. So you guys heard of Stockholm Syndrome? Stockholm Syndrome is over a long period of time, the captor starts feeling for the person, the captive taker, and over time, because they'll, feed them, And after a while, you start feeling, it may not be genuine, but they're feeling. It's called Stockholm Syndrome after all. This happened within hours. And what happened, we thought, was that was kind of a implicit bias that they had, that this individual running from the cops must be good, the cops are bad. Or it came to that understanding or that belief. So those four said, we're not leaving until we guarantee this person's safety. Okay, so our negotiation shifted where the suspect was now, we're treating them that as a hostage, because we went on the medical side. We know that he got shot a couple times. How much blood did he lose? And myself and my negotiating partner were EMTs, so we were able to pivot easily. You know, how much blood do you think he lost? He goes, oh, considerable amount. Because you know the body only has like 4 liters. How much blood do you think he lost? He goes, whoa, it's a lot on there. Okay, so let's talk about the medical. We were able to let them expedite their understanding and process of getting this individual out to render the suspect render medical aid. So it got to the point where they agreed to come out as a human shield for the suspect. Because the suspect was adamant that if I poke my head out without being handcuffed, your sniper's gonna shoot me. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. We're not gonna shoot you. No, he is. So they're like, yes, we are not gonna allow him to come out, how did this come out in our talk? So it's like, okay, you can come out. How about you guys be a human shield? Okay, we're gonna come out as a human shield. Like, oh boy. And then it came out, it's on YouTube. You see it, it was 4 hostages came out at barriers to the suspect, and he had handcuffs on. And he says, I will not come out without handcuffs because your snipers are shooting. So, okay, all right. So we had the tactical team take his handcuffs, throw it in front of the side of the door of the thing, and one of the hostages opened the door, came out, looked out, picked up the handcuffs, and went back in. That was freedom. I'm out of here. But they looked around, picked up, and went back in, placed the handcuffs on the suspect with his hands up, and then they escorted him all out. And that's how we got the peaceful resolve. But we were able to pivot from the suspect, let him all go, let him all go. Once we're hurt, you guys can all leave. We thought we got a victory, but then it pivoted really drastically, and then we had to now negotiate with the hostages.
For their own release.
But after they came out, because they were in a bubble the whole time, they had no news, no information from the outside. After they came out, they realized what the suspect did, shot his grandmother, shot the girlfriend, shot this, and then they're like, what did we just do? We gave him all of our information to be advocates during court. And then they're like, oh, he's got all of our information. And then reality sunk in. But he's serving life, so it won't matter anyway. But imagine, that's the mindset. So we had to pivot and all that. But those are all the whole sport. Yes, yes. Yeah.
So bringing the sympathy part, I think that's where we struggle at a church. Because I spoke with Charles about it. I said, for us, when we see a homeless person come in, naturally we are trying to be more sympathetic and empathetic, so that it's hard for us to look at them. So that's why Charles was always saying, no, you have to always see the potential of danger. We don't normally do that because we're thinking, oh, we're a church, we should accept and receive. So I think that's where that mind shift has to happen, because for him, he says, oh, if there's somebody that's doing that, especially a homeless person, because we want to meet their needs somehow, right? That's kind of like the nature of our emotions, but I am not always aware that they can switch that behavior right away. And so that's something Charles says, no, like if they're mentally unstable, it can turn where they can go toward a child or go toward you or somebody, So I think that's what's hard for me, at least, or I think most people at the church, feeling like this is a place for people who need, so I think that's that.
So this
the learning that has to happen.
That's a great example. Remember, we have competing goals. If we don't have a goal, we know that individual has a goal. If we're just reactive, they're gonna find a weak spot, and then they're gonna accomplish their goal. And our job is to prevent them from accomplishing their goal, whatever their goal is. And how soon or how long it takes to reveal their goal, it depends on how aggressive we are, or do we need for them to reveal their goal. They all have a goal. They don't come in there like the story book and say, oh, feed me. oh, I want rest from my weary feet. They're coming in to probe you, us, and all, for vulnerability, for a goal. And we can be as gracious and hospitable, but we have to let them know that we are in control. Just like for that example, they came in, I cut her off and say, how are you doing, my sweetheart? And I let them know it was very non-confrontational. And then she looked at me like, huh? And then test it. And every test came by, oh, okay, well, I can give you some donuts. I can give you coffee. That's all you can get here today. What else can I do? Yes, Peter.
Should we always engage? Like, are there situations where we shouldn't engage though? Like, what if they seem kind of crazy, or they might be on drugs or drunk?
Great question.
No.
Remember, they're probing. The ones that are most dangerous are the ones that just come in and, like, they have either they're mentally disabled to the point where they're gonna come in with a knife, come in with a gun, come in to do harm. That's very rare. There's a whole other training for that tactic. That we want to create multi-layered buffer situation. We can't because of the surrounding and geographic. We don't have a parking lot usher team. We don't have all the buffers that we can, naturally factor in. So that's the hard part, but that's a whole other topic, right? We have an active shooter, someone or running from police and they're evading and then they spill in. There's a different situation for that. But if majority would be homeless or someone coming in just figuring out probe, that's where they're doing the OODA loop. I explained that. They're seeing what they can and they're seeing where they can go in there and manipulate and gain their goal. We have to, in turn, that's where we have to right away create by being compassionate, but knowing we have a goal, they have a goal. It's always competing goals, right? If we don't have one, then that's where we're going to be always behind that 8 ball. Yes.
I mean, you mentioned that because of maybe the SWAT team knowing all these, that practices so that it doesn't come off as a reactive.
Mm-hmm.
Not to push all the way to like proceduralize or anything like that, but is there something that we should take step by step in a church situation that if this happens, should we establish something like that for a more practical sense so that everyone can understand what the next step should be or would be?
Good question. Great question. The best thing, so if you can I use this as a context. Another big church asked me a while ago to come do assessment in the security. They've got a parking lot usher team, which is kind of pseudo security with their usher, and then they've got their interior and they've got all these different layers, right? I said that most outer layer, and even the second most outer layer, everyone should walk around with a water bottle. Mm-hmm. The reason why that is that's going to be your olive leaf, that's going to be your tool to elicit their intention, right? It's not to crack it open and drink or nothing. It's to say, whoever you see that's out there, say, hi, how's it going? Can I offer you a bottle of water? Can I offer you some water? By offering that water, you've initially broken that barrier, right? By cracking that the shell on that egg, crack it, and hey, now the ball's in their court. How they react to you is a telltale indicator sign of what their intentions are. So you've already reached out by not being aggressive over, but by saying, hey, can I offer you a bottle of water? Can I offer you some water? If they have ill intentions, what do you think their reaction is going to be? They're not going to be like, oh, thank you, and then they're looking around. No, they're going to go, no, I don't need any. You can go by. Then you're like, red flag. First red flag goes up while you're outside your perimeter. And say, hey, Charles to, whoever in there, this is a guy coming in closer, he's got blizzard, keep an eye out on him. Okay. And they come up, now you've built that. Then they can go, hey, how's it going, sir? Do you have anybody that you want to come? And then now you've already, red flag came up, and now you're building that understanding more as opposed to getting hit at the front door, right? So that's now, for us, that's where we just gotta, as soon as that first person comes in, we have to do all that in a compressed amount of time. As soon as they come in, stand up, and you profile, you size that person up. Hey, good afternoon. How can I help you? And then that's the first initiation or initial instinct of what their intentions are. If they're looking past you, then they've already kind of scoped. They're curious to see what's going on. That's where the initial the lady that came out they're going, hi, how can I, what can I do for you, sweetie? And then she's like, well, she's looking at me. She was scanning the room. Said, is there anything good here? I said, well, what can I help? And then she said, came in and grabbed the, let me get the donuts for you. Hey, and then right away, I did not let her, I let her know that she did not have control, right? And I was still being hospitable, but she did not have control. She cannot willy-nilly grab and do things. Let me make the coffee for you. Let me get this for you. And physically was kind of guiding, daring her and all that. So that's some of the things that we need to understand what we can do.
I think it feels like it's more procedure than, like, I think for me, number one is permission to see them in a way where, oh, this can cause problems. So a lot of times it's like I need him to say, yeah, there's potential for danger. So we can view the person that's entering our church that way, because that's something that I have a hard time with. Like, cause I'm like, oh no, we should receive them, So it was like that. And then maybe it's that procedure of, if Charles, if you're not there, who's the next level of, who's the next one that would, would be, is it the pastoral staff? So now we're looking at like, okay, what's the process, right? So if you're not there, who is the next person that would approach that person? So nobody, you know how sometimes it's like if there's no one who takes accountability, then nobody engages. So it's like that, like the layer.
It's usually when Charles is not there, James actually walks around outside perimeter once in a while and kind of keeps an eye on the door. And then he tells me not to sit by the door just in case if somebody comes in directly and I'm not right there receiving. And I try to approach them first when because we're welcome team.
Yeah.
We're usually by the door, and then when they come in, especially people that we don't recognize, we do go up and say, oh, do you know anybody in the church? How did you find out about our church? That's what we do usually, but the time that he was talking about, the homeless, by the time we came in, he was already
Oh yeah, he was there,
yeah. So that was awesome. I was like,
So we gotta understand, we always try to, the human mind defaults to worst case scenario, what we don't know. It's just built in, we're baked in that. What we don't know, worst case scenario. So we kind of think that same way. And when it comes through, it's gonna be like, oh, Brian, Charles, come here. It's not, anybody come and start that dialogue, communication. And you could do more with a very low-key person that understands how to reveal that person's goal and understand the Ululu process. Like, oh, hi, how can I help you? Really? Okay. And do the same thing that I did, had nothing to do with body stature, size, it has to be the same thing, just build ability to communicate confidently and guide them in the path that you want. That's a thing that we want to be able to have the confidence. Has nothing to do with the physical. Physical there is in case of emergency break glass. Like what I did with that individual could be done with anybody, but we like that comfort of like in case they start going then I can sit there and lay when we drag on and put them out. But that's
the next
1%. 1%. The 90% of the time it's going to be, oh, I see, and they're just probing you. It's going to be more of a communication speed. Really, okay, and as you're walking along that, well, I understand, but we can't do this, we have service going on right now, but however, and then we're constantly just talking. Don't be afraid of, like I said, we think the unknown is always the worst case scenario. We think that person is gonna go, and then we have this mental imagination that's gonna be like, track down, fight with that. No, 98% of the time it's gonna be just communicating, talking, but it's a power struggle. 90% of people that have a goal, we don't have a goal, we need to establish a goal. It's competing goals. As soon as someone comes into the room and says, actually, competing goals. And whose job, our job is to expose and reveal their goal, right? That's all it is. Oh, what brings you out here? Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, really? Okay, well, we can offer you a couple of donuts, but yeah, you're gonna have to come with me. Let me get it for you. So we're slowly revealing their goal. And now that we've revealed all their goal, now they're like kind of naked. They don't have any power. Then they go, oh, okay, then they leave. Right? If we don't reveal their goal or let them know that there's nothing for you here except you want to, come, then they'll keep on probing for weaknesses because we're always been catch up. But once we establish ourselves and reveal their goal and we have our goal, so So it's always competing goals. Whichever goal, the tools you use the best to trump them, you're gonna win. So it's in a nutshell. That's kind of, as we move forward. It has nothing, 98% of the time, it's not a physical thing. It's a communication. It's the ability to guide that stream into where we want and rebuild our goal and realize they're like, I've been caught. Yes.
So like in the event like that you or maybe the welcoming team is like not available, should we say like maybe like pastoral staff and maybe LB, because at least you know who the congregation is, who's not the congregation.
Right.
Maybe who should be the ones to like, you know, kind of steer people and engage maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't really have to be practice. I think for me, it's like anybody can kind of stir it away. I think what he's talking about, coming in is easier. It's more, you can be tactical. I think so. What's the worst scenario is the fact that some of you have brought up. When there's an unexpected event, like when you're, like, that happened to me when I walked in and you see somebody there that is sitting there. Or if you walk into your house and somebody already break into your house and stay there, then negotiation is gone. Now it's get to the practical portion of how you gonna handle the situation, whether you're gonna run and call 911.
Well, but I have to interject with that. Negotiation is not always gone. It's still there, but it's more confined. The time frame is a little bit more expedited, right? And with that, let me add in a couple things. If you are in the same situation with Brian, those of you guys that weren't aware, Brian came in early morning and caught an individual in the bathroom, right? And there was some drug paraphernalia and all that stuff. So let's say we get caught where unexpectedly we don't have that buffer and we're there. Okay, first things first, right? We can still establish what that person's goal was. If the person is just, I just want a place to rest or get a wash up. Okay, it's fine. But then you have to be able to, adding a little more tactics. Position yourself while you're communicating with that person. Always have an exit close to you. Not that person is blocking your exit, right? You have to go, I see. And if the person is, if that they surprised you, where now the exit is that person between you and exit, don't panic. Say, I understand. Oh, well, this is where you need to work on your communication skills. You can do your mirroring. You can do your pausing, but during that time, you are tactically moving yourself into a position where, in the event that it goes sideways quick, you have an out. Right? So you should be thinking about that if you get caught alone and the suspect's there. You go, oh, first things first is, okay, where's the exit? And you go, hi, what can I do? What brings you by here? Oh, okay. And as you're talking, you need to go, yeah, I understand, and walk yourself to the exit, to where now you can continue that negotiation, but the exit's here. No need to be like panicked, but you need to set things to where the stage is set. In the event it goes that way, you go, I see, boom, out the door. But if you can't go out the door, and they see that, they'll recognize, oh, this person's nervous because the door's here. And they might go, all right, well, why are you scared? Are you scared of me? What am I? And then now you're adding fuel to the fire of potentially could have been. Now, does that make sense? So there's times where you have to tactically put yourself. That's like the restaurant. You're in a restaurant, back of the restaurant, facing the door. Same thing in a situation like this. You're sitting there, and all of a sudden you go into this corner, and then that person comes out here, and now you know that's the exit. So you better situate yourself to where, and then still communicate. What brings you about here? Oh, I see. Are you hungry? You thirsty? And then you start asking open-ended questions. So when's the last time you ate? Oh, okay, understand. I see. And that's when you got to do your mirroring, do all your tools to get that person. And you're doing what? You're doing all that. You're doing OODA loop. You're doing your OODA loop. And you're doing your tactics. There's a lot of things going on. But the more you do it, naturally comforting. It comes out. Okay, come on, walk. And then as you're walking by, you're position yourself to the other exit, and you're scanning around. Anybody else in here? Okay, because I guess. Don't worry about this. And then you just keep on doing what you're doing, talking about, positioning yourself. I think it's better if we talk outside. Why don't you go outside, and then we'll see what we can do. But there's nothing in here for you, except just a bathroom. Well, obviously you use a bathroom. Do you need to use a bathroom any longer? Are you good? And then I think, okay, well, yeah. Let's see. You can say, we've got a security system here. It's alerted to the local law enforcement. So, I mean, let you know, we got a couple minutes, they're gonna come up, if they can ask, they'll probably ask you any questions, but, you know, and then you can do that ruse. But do that ruse with you, with the back, with closest to the exit. Don't do that when you're in the corner and they're there. So, think, you know, strategically, tactically. Those are the times that you wanna think. 99% is all about communication. Very rarely goes to physical. So remember, your brain defaults to worst case scenario when the unknown. But I'm telling you, 99% of the time, it's all gonna be all about communication skills. How you're gonna master the competing goals, the OODA loop, and working that scenario and accomplishing your goal over that individual. Any other questions? All right, so recap real quick, right? We have to have a goal. Condition your brain whenever you have a situation, interactions, or any kind of incident. Establish what's my goal? I don't want to be on the receiving end of react the volley. I want to toss it up so I can get up the rest of that, and then when they come, I can end the play. I want to have a goal. I want to have a goal. And then now that we have our goal, we want to what? Utilize the tools. Simple, just the basic tools that we talked about. The first simple things is what? Mirroring, pauses, paraphrasing. Those are things that we do that help us to buy time for our brain to process. As we're doing those skills that we're doing, then our brain is actually gonna find a way to get to the goal. If we don't have a goal, you can do the mirroring, you can do the pause, all that, but we're just gonna be like mirroring and pausing in the wilderness.
Yeah.
We gotta have a goal to get to our goal, right? So those are the key steps. Have a goal, use the tools to get to the goal.
To get him out.
That's actually better for us because that he's revealed his goal, right? He's just gonna stay there.
He just wants to
Okay,
use
cool. Well, I'll be outside, hanging out. When you're done, you can come out. And when you're outside, now you've created a safe tactical position, and you can call 911 outside. But you don't want to call 911 in front of them where you're trapped in the corner. Then they're gonna go. They'll feel like no choice but to either stop you or stop you from calling 911 because we don't know their true goals yet. But get you in a position where you're outside, they're inside. All right, yeah, this is I'm Susan, church member here, and this is a person individual. It's inside the church, like drug paraphernalia, but they're not coming out. They're stuck. I'll be outside in the parlor, and then they'll come and deal with it. That's the easy job. Easy if they're stuck. If they're out on and around, then that's where you're gonna have to kind of figure out, have them reveal their goals, and you have your goal. Who's gonna come on top?
How about people that are walking around this area and they don't look like they belong, but then, I mean, are you able to?
I mean, we
tell
can
them?
establish, legally, it's a
Yeah,
public
it's a
area,
public place.
so we can, but we can be curious, and we can ask certain questions. Yes?
As far as I'm aware, this is actually a private area.
Wow.
So people are not allowed to be on the
Yes.
premises of the business park if they're not supposed to. And so I think people in the business park, I think we can just kick out whoever we want.
With that being said, we have to have, so yes and no. It can be a private, but in order for us to kick somebody out, you have to have no trespass sign and hours of operations that they're not allowed. So that has to be, and that has to be registered with the local PD, Santa Ana Police Department. If they don't have that, they can come and warn them, but they can't do anything with that. Now they've got a warning. The second time that person comes, then they're subject to getting arrested. But if we don't have visible posted signs on the ingress and egress of those trespassing, that understanding of this as a private doesn't hold any water legally. So just to let you know, that's where it kind of falls through the cracks. And if you have yes?
So my concern here is we have a lot of kids. When kids are around and there's a stranger, my first thing is I want to get them to some kind of room, safely, but kind of smooth, but at the same time, I panic more when they're kids. What are some tactics when the kids are around and you see a stranger, you don't really have
Right, so once again, we have to understand the playing field, right? We have to understand unknown, our brain defaults to worst case scenario. So we're like, oh, stranger, the kids, it's vulnerable, right? But we have to first reveal what their goals are. And only way that we do that is establish rapport. So once we establish rapport, then we're gonna go, oh, okay, this is more benign. Hey, what can I do to that? But we don't know black and white. If a person comes in and their intention is to harm kids, we'll know that for sure. it's like the needle will go, oh, danger, danger, and then that's when we're gonna have to. But that's another whole, tactics on. Do we have an early warning system? Do we have, go blue, and the teacher said that kids get in the bathroom. We have to have something built in, right, for that emergency. So that's where but only way to get to that is to do the initial, build a rapport, reveal their goals, and use our communication skills. Because 98% of the time, it's not they're going to do harm. If they do harm, everybody will know the intention. That's why we have the little hairs in the back of our neck and spidey senses. We have that. We can trust that. But a lot of times we don't know. We default to worst case scenario. That's just the human nature. We do that. That's self-preservation. So we have to identify, differentiate between self-preservation unknown or this is the real deal. And that's kind of the situation. Any other questions?
Just, I understand this wrong. Just like with driving, somebody that moving car coming towards you, you know what you're looking at, and if you push stop right away, you're gonna hit somebody from behind. So you have to understand your eye movement and everything. That's right.
I think in a church setting though, having a goal is like not only negative in terms of anytime someone comes like, oh, if I have a goal, like I want to know why they're here. Are they coming to meet their friends? Are they coming because they're hurting spiritually? So it's a great question to have ahead of time, not just negatively, like assuming they have like a negative goal, but having that in mind where it's proactive even in a positive sense is probably beneficial to the church in a positive way as well as helping avoiding the negative. So I think that's a really helpful take.
Yeah, without a goal is our compass, right?
Yeah.
Goal is our compass. Without a compass, we'll just like, we'll aimlessly, we can throw out all these tools. We can, do mirroring all day, but we'll just be mirroring, in vain. We have to have, so yeah, I think having that compass, and that's hard. A lot of people, we go through life just kind of reacting to what we see, just reacting. Oh, what do I do now? Oh, what do I do now? But if you already have pre-planned in your mind, if I come, that's where the whole thing, you guys understand, when people go into a public, crowded area, venue, you first find out where the exits are. Well, lock that in. Okay. Well, so then now, when something happens, my goal is halfway there. If my goal is to flee, I already know where the exits are because I just pre-programmed it. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Okay, exits, let's go. So I'm accomplishing my goal. So helping that in advance is tremendous. And it's not a level of paranoia, it's a level of preparedness. Totally different than that. So goals, having goals, and tactics to get to the goal, accomplish the goal. That's comes down to negotiating one-on-one. Whether you're negotiating a contract, whether you're negotiating anything, you gotta have a goal and you gotta have tools to get to that goal. And I encourage you to practice, however fun and silly it may be, practice mirroring, paraphrasing, pausing, just practice. And then maybe next time we'll do a couple more. We'll do a couple other tools once you've mastered the mirroring and all that good stuff. Okay. Thank you very much.
It's all Christian, so we gotta pray up,
Christian tactics.
Christian tactics. So let's pray for Charles and let's pray for ourselves. Thanks for coming, you guys. God, we want to lift this time up to you. We want to honor you the best we can with every resource you give us. Thank you for our friend Charles helping us get to a space where we're more comfortable, not only meeting someone who we've never met that could be problematic, but also then meeting people who really do have felt needs. And it's such a great question to ask, like, why are you here and what do you need in your heart? So I pray that we'll use all these tools. Thank you for blessing us with Charles, his skill, ability. I know I always feel safer when he's here, so I thank you for him, and thank you for our folks who came who really do want to create an incredibly safe and wonderful environment for the other church members and our children. And so I thank you for those faithful folks. God, we love you and lift this up in your name. Amen.
Amen.
On that safe note, I'm going to be gone next Sunday.
The pastors.
You can all meet to the